This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
This is what you can look forward to on our big The Last Jedi Roundtable Review, episode 195 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Wait a minute. No one else is acknowledging Luke Skywalker. Only Leia.
It was just a little bit of a tease to go, the X-Wing was there. All he had to do was raise it.
Because I know the theater was like moments before joyous, like, yeah, Luke is amazing. And then all of a sudden this happens and the theater was like quiet.
That one really pulled my heartstrings.
And it would have been a perfect way to give her the send-off that we think Princess Leia deserves, or General Leia deserves.
I see a little bit where they're coming from, because after the first viewing, it's a little jarring. You're like, oh my gosh, what did I just see? And you don't really know how to process your feelings.
Are you ready?
Welcome to Neverland.
Here we go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets lab.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Neverland that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! So, how many times have you seen The Last Jedi? Well, we hope it's at least once, because we're about to go top to bottom in our review here on
Skywalking Through Neverland.
We are your podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars and Disney fandom. I am Richard Wolosky, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife, Sarah.
We've seen The Last Jedi. We've seen it twice. Woohoo! We've seen it. Yay! Oh my goodness! I'm so excited.
Now, typically, here it is on Sunday, and we've seen it twice.
Yep.
And you would think, okay, that's impressive since the movie only came out last Friday. But there are people on our Facebook group that have seen it 11 times.
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, Patrick Pine has seen it 11 times. He posted a picture of the Solo, a Star Wars Story teaser poster at the theater where he's there so often. He's like Norm from Cheers. I wonder how many of those showings were in IMAX. Oh, I love the IMAX.
That's amazing. Well, I do have to say that the IMAX 3D was super cool.
That was, yeah. One of the best 3D films I've ever seen.
Yeah?
Because those space scenes really looked like it was coming out at you.
Yeah.
Typically, 3D looks like it's going in, but this really looked like it was coming out.
I agree. And you know what? We've already gotten into it, but before we really get into it, we want to give all of you who are listening right now a warm and fuzzy Wookiee hug. You are our family of Skywalkers, so thank you for listening to the show every single week, and thank you for those of you who are just joining us. We love that. And you know what? You can tweet at us. While you listen, you can tweet at us your thoughts on The Last Jedi. We are at Skywalking Pod, because we love it when you share our joy in this adventure through fandom, and this adventure just keeps on getting bigger and better and more awesome.
Well, it's not going to slow down anytime soon.
No.
Now, we are recording this from Long Beach, California on December 17th, 2017. And Minnie, did I already hear you tell us the time?
Yeah, it was a premature Minnie.
Did she jump the gun?
She did. She did, so.
It's 8:11.
Oh my god! Okay. Well, I guess she was not done.
that was kind of a maniacal laugh, too.
That was amazing.
I didn't know she could repeat it twice.
Minnie, that was so cute.
Well,
I guess
you, Minnie.
she's really excited that it's 8:12. 8:11.
Well, do you know what I'm excited about?
What?
What's coming up on this episode, and we recorded our Last Jedi Roundtable after our second viewing on December 14th after the midnight showing, which was at 6 p.m.
I don't think we can call it a midnight showing anymore.
No.
It's a 6 p.m. showing at the TCL Chinese Theater IMAX with our good friends at liningup.net.
And some other Skywalkers who joined in.
Oh, and wait! And Ryan Johnson. Oh!
Yeah, he was there, but didn't necessarily join on the round table.
Well, oh, no, I meant he was there at our screening for the, beginning of it. And then he left and probably said hello to the people at El Capitan. But it was so cool. He showed up.
Yeah, unexpectedly.
I know. I was like, oh, it was amazing. And we all ran down, and I guess we'll talk about it next week a little more.
Yeah, next week we'll go more into the experiences around The Last Jedi.
Okay.
But I'm so excited because afterwards we got all of our thoughts together, and having seen it the second time, things made more sense so we could process it more.
Yes.
And we had a really fun round table. Now, we also speak with Dan McDonald, who is the general manager at the new pop-up Star Wars Dark Side Bar inside the Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
That's right. And we want to give them a huge shout out since they sponsored our roundtable review by supplying plenty of great drinks. So thank you, Dark Side Bar.
It may sound like we're pretty drunk, but we're just more tired. Our voices are just shot and maybe a little inebriated.
Well, mostly I think we were just tired. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So this Dark Side Bar is a fantastic spin on an Imperial bar like you would see on the Death Star.
Right. And if you're thinking about it, the actual
Say it right.
I know.
Say it right.
The actual TCL Chinese Theater, the main one, it's not in there. It's actually the TCL Chinese Theater has a whole second level.
Which has all the other screens.
Yeah, that has all the other screens, and that's where the Dark Side Bar is. So.
Yeah. Plenty of signs, can't miss it, don't miss it, lots and lots of fun.
Yes. And also on this episode, we have some great holiday shout-outs from some Skywalkers.
Now, the reviews are in for The Last Jedi, and largely they're very, very positive. But not surprisingly, there are a lot of complaints about it as well.
Wait, Star Wars fans complain?
Can you believe it?
What?
There's even a petition to have Disney strike this from official canon.
Wait, what?
All right,
what?
That's going too far. You know what? Honestly, I didn't even read that. I didn't read any of the reviews. I saw some of the headlines, and I just don't want to go there.
Did you see this petition?
I saw a link to it.
Wow.
And didn't want to go anywhere near it. Now, I don't see where they're coming from. I personally loved The Last Jedi, and I'm guessing you did too.
Right. Well, I honestly, I see a little bit where they're coming from, because after the first viewing, it's a little jarring. You're like, oh my gosh, what did I just see? And you don't really know how to process your feelings. So if people are going off just one viewing and be like, and railing against Star Wars, then I think they should view it again.
Well, I can see them not connecting all the dots, but some of the reviews had headlines like, disappointed, no personality, has no business having the Star Wars title.
What? No personality?
Now, I know some people will claim that Star Wars junkies, Star Wars diehards will love anything and everything. I don't think that's necessarily true. Because there's so much out there now, I feel like it's our job to be discerning. Now, I can honestly say I loved The Last Jedi. I walked out of there just walking on air. Now, if you recall, I know, Sarah, you don't recall this, but back in 1980, I call that the pre-Sarah days. The Empire Strikes Back, which is considered the best Star Wars film in the Star Wars saga, it got tons of terrible reviews.
Really?
And I do recall this as a kid, reading these reviews and not understanding how things worked in film reviews. I thought, yeah, am I dumb? Am I not getting this?
Okay.
And then you grow up and you realize, oh, people like to bash on things just to make themselves feel more superior.
So what were some of these reviews?
Well, the Hollywood Reporter said, The Empire Strikes Back doesn't quite measure up to Star Wars in the freshness and originality of its script. I even, 37 years later, I still don't get that. I think it's extremely fresh and extremely original. Back then, for a sequel, except for Godfather Part 2, this was considered the all-time sequel because it didn't just rehash what had come before it.
Right. Yeah, it furthered the storyline.
Exactly. It was a continuation. Now, the New York Times said The Empire Strikes Back is not a truly terrible movie. It's a nice movie. It's not as fresh, there's that word again. It's not as fresh and funny and surprising and witty, but it is nice and inoffensive.
What?
I didn't write this. It's also silly.
What is he talking about? Yoda?
I don't know what they're talking about. And then it goes on. Okay, check this out.
Okay,
sit down for this one, okay? The Empire Strikes Back is as personal as a Christmas card from your bank.
What?
Says the New York Times.
Oh my.
I don't get any of that. See, as a 12-year-old, as an 11-year-old, I was utterly confused by all of this. So there's a point here. So hang on here.
Oh yeah.
Now, Cinefantastique was less than enthusiastic about The Empire Strikes Back, condemning it as a lifeless copy of Star Wars propelled chiefly on the momentum of that earlier film. Lifeless.
Wow.
Did these people even see the movie?
Did they see Han and Leia bickering back and forth?
Exactly. Did they see Yoda and Luke and the training that went through that? Did they see Darth Vader's character really progress in this film? Which you never see a villain like this, a monster that has, you can see their character arc. That never happens. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure it does happen, but to this extent, I don't get it. So, point being, seeing how reviewers were trashing The Empire Strikes Back, do you think people will come around to The Last Jedi and maybe The Last Jedi will become the go-to Star Wars film?
Right. Well, I mean, The Last Jedi it does not go the way you think. And so what I'm saying is people are initially reading that and being like, whoa, this is not my Star Wars. They're taking a step back. But once it's become part of Star Wars canon and lore and you've seen it a bunch of times, then you will, I think, eventually embrace it just because you know what's coming. Like, it's no longer everything that's weird and different about this film will be familiar and good. Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because every Star Wars film you see, it's like, this is not really Star Wars. It's not really Star Wars to you because you've only seen it once.
Exactly. And Star Wars to us is something we have internalized and seen millions and millions of times and read all the books. And, it's something that Star Wars takes a while to ingest because it's that nostalgia factor that you're fighting with a new film.
Right. Plus, The Empire Strikes Back, that was nothing like Star Wars.
Right.
So with that, I think this falls right in line with Star Wars. I mean, even look at the prequels. They weren't anything like the previous Star Wars films. And that's a good thing.
Right.
No, I'm not invalidating anyone's points.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And that's
of course
how it is.
Of course. But I feel some people are just slamming it just for the sake of slamming it.
To have like an opinion that they want out there on social media.
Clickbait, exactly. And once again, I never want to invalidate anyone's opinion. If you don't like something and you can back that up, all the power to you.
Right.
Once again, I didn't click on the links. You could see you can see just a brief headline, and it didn't seem like they were going to go into something like an intelligent conversation.
Oh, okay. The links may be clickbaity, but
I know you can't judge a link by its link. But I just can't deal with that. And, I loved it, so don't try to take away from my enjoyment. Have your own opinion. Great, get it out there. And let's hear from the positive people, which we did. We heard from how many people on our Skywalking to Neverland Facebook group? Tons and tons of people who loved it.
Yeah, we have a whole thread there going of The Last Jedi spoiler discussion. And people, I mean, I don't know how many comments there are now, but we keep on getting comments every, couple of minutes.
Yeah. And some people had some problems with it, and they backed it up. You know what? Fine. That's fine.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, even though some people may be having problems with The Last Jedi, we are certainly going out in droves to see it.
Yeah, 11 times?
Yeah, okay, so far the Thursday through Sunday box office estimates are in. So are you ready?
they have been rock solid.
Yeah.
Just like they predicted, too.
So Variety reports that The Last Jedi will have a $220 million opening weekend at 4,232 North American theaters. So that's the second highest opening weekend of all time domestically.
Wow, $220 million from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days.
And just to give you perspective, The Force Awakens had $248 million in that first weekend. So that's a $28 million difference. But nothing is ever going to compare to The Force Awakens.
No, that was something that we've been waiting for so long. The return of Han Solo, the return of the legacy characters.
Chewie, we're home.
Yeah. So now, if you factor in Rogue One, which made $155 million in the same time frame, so that's $65 million less than The Last Jedi. That's a pretty significant amount.
Yeah.
But yet, still, Rogue One did huge box office numbers. So, point being, Star Wars slays at the box office and continues to slay at the box office.
Always. We love it. Ugh.
So Disney, you pretty much own the box office.
Yeah.
Now owning 20th Century Fox. Do we even need to do box office anymore? Just consider Disney a winner on all accounts.
You know what? They're just lining their pockets with gold. Well, with that, I think we're ready to get into our Last Jedi Roundtable. So who do we have there, Richard?
Paul McQue, a veteran of liningup.net.
He's also with Fantha Tracks as well.
Star Wars Origami author Chris Alexander. Ghost host and Rebel Spy reporter Dave Skale. Skywalking through Neverland Roundtable veteran Matt Baird. And host of Good Morning Tatooine, Obi-Shawn Crosby.
All right, so before we get into this roundtable, I want to remind everyone that we will go into spoilers. So if you have not seen The Last Jedi, turn around now.
And get to a theater near you. And then when you're done with this episode, you can go back and listen to our press conference episode where you and I and James Burns from Jedi News, we picked out the highlights from the press conference. And I know people said they didn't want to listen to it until afterwards, after they'd seen The Last Jedi. So now you can go back and hear all the fun little nuggets.
And also, you guys talk about your experience there, which it's super fun. And also on our feed, our podcast feed, is the press conference in its entirety. So you can hear everything they have to say, including James Burns' question and Richard Woloski, your question.
And you can also hear Daisy Ridley say, hey, that's a cool jacket.
Yeah, nice
my
jacket.
R2-D2 jacket.
So cool.
All right, now, sound the spoiler alert alarm.
Attention Skywalkers. Spoilers ahead.
Warning.
Attention Skywalkers. Spoilers ahead.
Warning.
Spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead.
Here we are outside of the TCL Chinese Theater, and I know that because it says it right over there, so this time I got it right. We're on the 4th floor looking over Hollywood Boulevard, which is just thick of Star Wars madness. We have an AT-M6 down there, we have cannons, we have Nissan Star Wars themed cars, but yet we're up here and we're going to do our roundtable review on The Last Jedi. Now, we just saw the midnight show, which was at 6 p.m. Here we are, gathered around to give our reviews, our highs, our lows, what we thought of it, and there will be a spoiler alert right before we roll into this. So if there's something you want to say, go ahead and say it. All right, so let's go around the table right over here, and first let's talk with Matt Baird. Matt, give us your reaction to The Last Jedi.
Well, hey, this is Matt, and I thought it was quite a roller coaster ride. I mean, there's a lot of emotional highs and lows and just stuff that you don't see coming, which I thought was the best part, where you're like, what? I can't believe that's happening. And there's some pretty good jokes. There's some pretty good laugh lines in there. It's a different type of script than, say, Lawrence Kasdan would write, and it's a different type of direction than from J.J. Abrams, but it's very fast-paced, and it moves. It moves. I really enjoyed it. It was good. It's a good movie. It's definitely a must-see movie, and it's worth waiting in line for.
All right, next we have Paul McHugh.
Hello. Currently, I am numb. Processing.
There was a lot of big beats, like that completely changes the story from what we saw in Force Awakens. Rian Johnson, this new trilogy that he's taking control of, absolutely. Like, obviously because we hadn't seen it before, we didn't know how he was going to play it, but I would love to see a brand new trilogy from that dude.
So you're really focusing on the Rian Johnson aspect, and when he was announced a couple of years ago, I'm losing track of time here. I know I was not nervous, but like, this is not the Star Wars director I would have chosen.
I was a fan of Looper. Like, I thought Looper was a great movie.
Right. And his Breaking Bad episodes were fantastic, but to do a Star Wars film?
Kathy Kennedy, brilliant decision.
All right, Chris Alexander.
Hi, this is Chris. I'm still processing. There's a lot of changes in the Star Wars universe. There's no rebellion left. There's no resistance left, but there's a whole new start and a whole new spark. So it's almost like they want to do a complete reboot of the entire galaxy and start all over. Wipe out the boss, wipe out the rebels, wipe out the Jedi. Let's just start all over with what we've got going, which is kind of a lot to process.
Right. All right. How about this gentleman right over here?
David B. Cal? Okay, so Rogue One, I was completely confused. I didn't know what to think. I wasn't able to follow the story. It was just a hodgepodge, and everything seemed like an excuse for more war scenes. And whereas this one had a clear storyline. I like the I really liked it. I thought it was really well done. I like the fact that they put humor in it, which I didn't see a lot of laughs in the earlier ones. And then I like that there was a real feeling of good prevailing, and like makes me feel like the human species will survive in the midst of what we're doing to the rest of the life on Earth and to one another and have been doing, and which seems to be like getting worse and worse. But movies like this restore my hope. And it wasn't maudlin, it wasn't sappy, sentimental, anything like that. It was very hopeful and optimistic, and the acting was terrific, and the storyline was clear and followable, and I liked the message in it. So I'm very impressed with the work they did.
All right, Chris Marino.
This is the other Chris. I loved it. Yeah, like everyone else said, I'm still processing it, I just don't know where you go from here, really. It's I almost feel bad for J.J. Abrams because going to be interesting where they go, but I'm excited for it. And as we've said, bring on more Rian Johnson Star Wars, please. I love that guy. Yeah,
it's going to take about 5 or 6 times to see it, to really comprehend the whole thing. It's that thick.
Yes, for sure. Yes, it'll take a while.
All right, David Skale.
I loved it. I felt like Disney sat back and said, what made the best elements of Star Wars, what you have to have, and the Avengers, since we've been doing pretty good with that little franchise. Well, we need humor. We need lots and lots of action. We need, we should have some of those, like, I'm your father, Luke moments, but let's stuff a bunch of those in there. and let's pay homage to all the other films by taking it in a different direction. And my head's spinning because your brain is just trying to connect all those dots.
Right. All right. My sweetie wife, Sarah. Sarah, give us your quick review on this, on The Last Jedi.
Well, I'm emotionally exhausted after seeing it the second time. I think because you know what's coming, the whole ending of it with Luke, it really hits you more when you know what's coming. So, but in a good way. I really find the movie awesome, and seeing it at the Chinese Theater for the first, with a bunch of fans who are seeing it for the first time, is really fun. Because you have everyone cheering and yelling and whoa, and all those moments when Holdo takes the battle cruiser and goes to light speed and splits the dreadnought. Oh, right. Yeah, that in the theater is an amazing moment because it's literally 10 seconds of silence. Yeah. And for a film that's silent that long, everyone in the theater was afraid to react until finally the sound came on, and then we're whoa.
Now, generally for a feature film, they want to have at least 3 or 4 moments. And that's a good film. This one had 3 or 4 moments in the first act alone. With each act, it just became more and more and more surprises. And like, where can they go from here? Are they going to top themselves with this? There's no way, but yet they do. And the surprises that kept coming our way, the cameos, the callbacks to each of the films, which there were plenty of, and we'll get into that in just a couple of seconds. But wow, this was just amazing. I walked out of this, and I couldn't do a review right after our first screening because there's no way your mind could wrap itself around this very thick, heavy plot. And someone here brought up the acting. Who brought up the acting? Was that? I think that was you down there. Wow. Carrie Fisher has never been this good. She was fantastic. And she's good, but now I really want to see the behind the scenes on Rian Johnson directing her, because those looks in her eyes and that scene where she's on crate and she's watching for the incoming new First Order, and you can just see her eyes. It's like that's Princess Leia right there. That's a 19-year-old Carrie Fisher, just with those eyes. And this just took Star Wars to a whole new level. Now, how about favorite scenes? Who here's got an immediate favorite scene?
I like Kentucky Fried Pork.
Oh, no.
It was funny.
Kentucky Fried Pork.
It was funny. It was funny.
All right, well, tell people what you're talking about.
All right, well, there's the porg are these like screaming owl-like creatures, which are cute. But hey, Chewie's got to eat. He's got to eat. So there's nothing else to eat on that island. So
he's not a good fisher.
Yeah, I guess not. He's got to get some good food, but he has a change of heart and does not succumb to something that would be akin to like Kentucky Fried Chicken, or maybe I wonder if it's better than Zanku. Let's see, porg or Zanku? I don't know. Anyway,
well, they did shoot a scene of him eating the porg. But then Disney said, maybe we should not do that.
Really?
But I don't know why they left this whole scene in here where he's spit roasting a porg.
The damage is already pretty much done at that point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but then you see the little porg family looking at him like, you're really eating Uncle Charlie?
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're doing this.
We named him Lumpy after you.
And those big black eyes looking up at Chewie. Find something else. Go get one of those blue milk squirting animals.
Yeah, what were they?
Maybe take a slice out of them. They wouldn't even notice.
Yeah,
sea cows or sea something.
Sea sows.
Sea sows.
But a sow's a pig.
Sit on the rocks so you can milk them?
Yeah. And so I guess this is where we find out where blue milk comes from. Maybe it's one of the sources where we find out where blue milk comes from.
Gotcha.
I can't picture them on Tatooine, though.
It isn't blue milk, the origin story. All right, so you liked when Chewbacca was almost going to eat a porg.
Yeah, and Luke's got a really good line. I won't give it away about Jakku. I think was the funniest line.
I think anyone listening to this will have seen it already.
Where are you from? Jakku. Yeah, that is the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
I'm from nowhere. Yeah. Everyone's from somewhere. From Jakku. Yeah, that really is nowhere.
Yeah, that really is nowhere. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else got a favorite scene they want to point out?
I think Rey and Kylo Ren go up against the
Praetorian Guards.
The Imperial Guard. Yeah.
The Praetorian Guards.
Yeah, boy, that was awesome. That was just an awesome scene.
And actually, in the theater, that scene was amazing because everyone was like, "What? Yeah!" Like the whole theater erupted. Yes.
I'm going to disagree with you. This is Chris. I actually didn't like that scene as much. It struck me as too much of a Jackie Chan moment. You have all these guys in the corner, and every time one of the good guys twitched, they jumped into this fighting stance. It just my thought was, really? And then when they attacked, it was we have the 19 people, but we're only going to attack one at a time thing that they have in the really corny kung fu movies.
Say in Jedi, Return of the Jedi, the Red Guard does absolutely nothing. They just stand around and like curtains.
I wasn't too crazy about this. I love the concept of them fighting together, working together. the little moments within there, like when she drops the saber, picks it up, and then that was cool.
Oh, yeah.
But
that was good.
The fight itself, I think I would have been happier with a different way of bringing those two together and then separating them again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Being a big fan of the movie Willow, there was a callback to when Mad Mardigan and Saoirse joined forces and fought together. And that's what I thought of when I saw that. And it was a very slow motion sequence. Not in Willow, but in The Last Jedi, when they both turn around, when Kylo Ren and Rey turn around to fight the Praetorian Guards. It was a feel-good moment.
It was. And like I said, I liked the fact that they worked together and fought together. It was just I don't know. I just didn't like the idea of the Red Guard suddenly being the toss-away kung fu dummy, punching dummies.
But they did put up a good fight. They got a couple of good blows to Kylo Ren, which is not very easy. But there was a couple of great moves there, too, when there was one guard who was just choking her out, and she drops her lightsaber and catches it underneath him and slices him in half.
Yeah, that was
great.
great.
There were some great moves in there. I loved the fight. I just don't think that I love the way they worked together, and the individual battle moments were awesome. But the overall thing of we're all going to wait one at a time and attack, and then it just, I don't know.
A couple of them ganged up on Kylo Ren.
Two at a time, and then, I don't know, just too Jackie Chan for me.
What I thought was a little disappointing is that Snoke is such a good character. Why did they kill him off? We don't know anything, where he's from or whatever. I mean, I just liked he was so bad that you just want him to have more screen time, I thought.
Yeah. Paul McHugh, tell us what you thought about the killing of Snoke. Did you see that coming at all?
Well, that scene in general.
Uh-huh.
When they did initially team up, like I was like, no, you're not meant to do that. I went into that movie wanting Rey to avenge Han. Like I was wanting her to kill Kylo, kill Snoke. But when they did team up, like my brain initially was like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. But like 30 seconds later, it worked.
Uh-huh.
I was just wanting Rey to take out both of them, like Kylo. And he killed Han.
Give it
Too
time.
Too early?
Give it time.
Well, here you have a girl who's just coming into her own when it comes to the Force and lightsaber training against someone as powerful as Snoke and someone as powerful as Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
There's no way she was going to beat them.
I mean, in terms of that, so when the action did actually start, that scene that you mentioned where she kind of ducked down and took him at the knee level.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, there was some
And then,
beheadings of Praetorian guards too.
She threw the lightsaber to Kylo, and he's just like flicks the switch, and it, you see the hole through the head.
So now
that was a nice little. Well, I mean, we haven't seen that before,
right?
Well, that use of the lightsaber,
right?
Dave Scale here. I thought that it was a great way to kill him. It was kind of reminiscent of Darth Maul with the whole slicing him in half. But his screen time and his character development was like a henchman. I mean, here he is, this master overlord Palpatine character, and we barely saw him in Force Awakens, and here we're just starting to get into him, and then they kill him. So it's like, wait a minute, that's a little anticlimactic. I was expecting another 3 movies out of him.
So were you disappointed that they killed him off?
I got to see where they go with this. If he maybe comes back as a Force ghost or something.
Right. But if they waited until Episode 9 and killed him off there, then everyone would complain that's too much like Return of the Jedi.
But you have a formula, though, where at the end of the day, you have to have an arch villain. And unless it really becomes he's a stepping stone to Kylo Ren becoming the arch villain, which is obviously where they're going.
But they're getting away from that formula just so no one can say, hey, you know what, you're stepping too much into that formula.
True, but I would have liked to have seen more character development.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, it's like with Harry Potter. Voldemort isn't killed to the last film, and we hear so much about him, but I think they just killed him off too soon. I just think they killed him off.
I would at least like to know how he got to power, who he is, what his back's something, so I have some connection of, Okay, that's great. That's why you need to kill this guy.
Books and comics.
Are they actually giving more
All
backstory?
the fill-in stuff now will be like part of that, I think.
Because I've been avoiding that because I didn't want anything coming into this movie.
Right.
Well, I thought it was a huge surprise because I didn't see that ever coming in The Last Jedi. So you got to give him props for that. And Dave, you had said that the lightsaber cut him in half. It didn't cut him in half. It cut him in thirds. Because his arm was still on the throne when his whole body slumped over and fell down.
Well, I've only seen it once. So.
Yeah, you got to step it up there, Dave. Christopher Marino.
I actually like the Snoke killing because I always thought the main evil baddie will be Kylo Ren, which that's where they're going. But my favorite scene is the battle for the lightsaber. That was fantastic when it just explodes with using the Force, each trying to pull it.
Rey and Kylo Ren both using the Force trying to grab the lightsaber, and it just breaks right in half.
Yeah, it breaks right in half. It just shows the power that they both have.
Right, but then Rey ends up with it. How do you suppose that happened?
Well, he was...
Red was knocked out.
Yeah, he was unconscious. She probably just grabbed it because she knows it's Luke's. So, and she has that kind of connection to it.
But wasn't it still broken, though?
Yes, she's holding it in two pieces.
Yeah, we saw the Kyber crystal.
Yes.
Right. But did she mend it?
No. Because she said when they were on the Millennium Falcon at the very end, she said to Leia, "This is all we have to go on."
Right.
And it was in two pieces.
It was in two pieces, and then Leia looks around and says, "No, we have everything we need right here."
And we never figured out how Rey got that lightsaber that fell in Bespin when
Well, we saw it in the
right.
Force Awakens.
I know, but how did she get it? It's that
Miles gets everything.
The books.
So now they've got two lightsabers to explain. How did Luke get the green one? He threw that either into the trench or off to the side, but he threw it away in the face of the Emperor. And then when he's dragging Vader back to the shuttle, he is not wearing that saber.
But in the end, when he's walking up to Luke, walking up to Han and Leia in the Endor Forest, in the Endor village, he does have it on his belt.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's dangling from his belt.
Okay.
So, you know what? Let's talk about Luke Skywalker here. And first of all, mad props to Mark Hamill. He
nailed it.
I never thought he could beat his performance in The Empire Strikes Back, but this is just off the hook. And once again, I can't wait to see the DVD extras and watching how Rian Johnson talks him through Luke Skywalker, who he's been playing since Rian Johnson was playing the playground as Luke Skywalker.
That's right.
Did we all think Luke Skywalker worked in The Last Jedi?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought not only did it work, it was great to see him. He's now the mentor role, so he's taking the Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he's also the little bit curmudgeon-y, a little bit testing Rey, so he had a lot of that original Yoda in him, making Rey jump through all those hoops. But you also saw him being, dark and having rejected the Force, and yet every once in a while he'd look up and wink. So you knew that inside of him is the old Luke Skywalker.
Right. So he's almost like Obi-Wan in Star Wars. Is he as good as everyone thought he was, since he lied to Luke the whole way through? But now here we find out that Luke was going to murder someone in his sleep.
No, he changed his mind. When they redid it, he was thinking about it, then he stopped, and then he stopped, and then Kylo Ren, defended himself, but he had changed his mind.
Right.
Well, whereas, two versions of it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right. But the Kylo Ren thing is that he was stopping him in the process when Luke had already, figured out that he wasn't going to do it,
Right, but the whole fact that Luke was going to murder his nephew in his sleep, that's a whole different Luke Skywalker than we've ever seen before. And I think that was one of the biggest shockers of the film when I first saw it. Like, Luke, what are you doing? This is not Luke Skywalker, but this is Luke Skywalker.
He takes after his old man.
Yeah, she sure does.
Yeah.
You know what? And just joining us now is Shawn Crosby, a.k.a. Obi-Shawn Crosby.
How's it going, eh?
Hey, so you're dressed as Luke Skywalker right now.
I am.
From The Last Jedi.
Episode 7, Episode 8, Luke Skywalker.
And very good. So we're talking about Luke right now. What are your thoughts on Luke in this film?
Well, it's a really interesting take on him. But one of the things we have to remember, what they show us in the film, of whether or not he's really going to kill Kylo or not, based on the darkness he sees in him, it is a certain point of view. And one of the things I like that the filmmakers really did is when Luke is telling the story, he looks pretty normal. When Kylo's telling the story, he looks really evil and frightening. And then when Luke kind of comes clean towards the end, he's sort of somewhere in between. It's a really good choice on behalf of the filmmakers to kind of reinforce that thing. But we saw a lot of sides of Luke that we hadn't seen before. And I was worried I was going to hate him. And since I am dressed like Luke right now, and I've been doing this for kids' charities, I didn't want to go be Luke at a kids' charity if he turned out to be really awful. So it just really, really had me a little bit worried. But I liked the side that we saw of him. I liked the snark and the old guy sort of, get off my lawn, Luke Skywalker.
Get off my island.
Yeah, it sort of fit really well for me. And I like what they did with him. And I'm a little sad at the end of his story arc, though.
Right.
How about this? Could you picture Yoda or Obi-Wan sitting on the rock and saying, reach out, and then tickling her fingers and then smacking her with the frond?
Oh, I can totally see Yoda doing that, yeah.
I don't know. I'm picturing Obi-Wan trying to do that.
Like to mess with people, does Master Yoda?
I didn't understand why Yoda lit the tree on fire. I didn't understand.
Because Luke wouldn't do it. And he
So it
was
time to move
agreeing
on.
with Luke.
Okay, so if they lit the tree on fire, then all the books were on fire. How did Rey have the books at the end?
She stole them when she left.
Okay.
So just like
All
Yoda
right.
said in Return of the Jedi, already know you that what you need, and thinking the books were inside of the tree, he didn't mind blowing up the tree to tell Luke, you know what, you don't need books. You everything you want to know about being a Jedi, you know about being a Jedi.
And the book for episode 3, at the very end, Yoda talks about having to give up the trappings of the Jedi. And maybe it's time we reinvent the Jedi. Maybe that's all what he was thinking when on his exile in Dagobah, and this is part of reinforcing that.
Right. If the dark side it can shroud who they are when we're standing right there, maybe we need to rethink some things.
One of the things I really liked with Luke was where they picked up where the last movie left off. The last movie had that intense scene where Rey hands Luke the lightsaber, and Luke looks at it with that intense expression. And then we pick up where they just takes it and throws it over his shoulder. And that huge build-up, and then that whole other direction that he takes
that
it
was
in.
funny.
Yeah,
That was
it was funny, but did we accept that scene, that part?
Oh, I do.
I did.
Completely.
Yeah.
It just shows that he has no interest in that part of his life at all. And
Right.
I think that was
He
the
could
great
have,
way to
though,
handle
said,
it.
hey, I just lost this at the bottom of Cloud City. Where did you get it from? That would have been interesting,
Well, and I'm waiting for that to come up with Maz Kaneda. There's a story she hasn't told us yet. And they're obviously keeping her around a little bit, so I would like to hear that story and see where she picked it up at, because it could give a lot of insight into Luke's life. And there's going to be just a big, huge section of Luke's life we're never going to know about. And that kind of weirds me out a little bit.
No, John. That's what the new trilogy is going to be about. The teenage Luke. Yeah, after being dropped off, when he's playing in the playground on Tatooine with his kids, his friends, and then going to school and studying and failing in math, stuff like that. It's going to be 3 episodes about that.
Okay, maybe I don't need to see that.
All right, now, when Luke shows up on Crate, let's talk about this. Did anyone know what was coming? Did we?
No.
Did we
No.
think?
Yeah, I knew right off the bat. And the first clue was that he looked younger.
Right.
His hair was darker. It was cut. And when he first walks in and we see him in the light, he looks very different. And he looks a little more like he looked in Kylo's visions.
Right.
Except when they made him look really scary. He was a little less scary.
So this is at the very end when the First Order is banging down the door of the base on Crate, and they're all inside going, well, it's only a matter of time before we're all obliterated.
Right.
And we need a new hope. And who comes walking through the door? Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker comes
Now, when I first saw it, I thought, wait a minute. No one else is acknowledging Luke Skywalker. Only Leia is talking to him, and no one else is acknowledging him.
Well, 3PO did.
At the end of the scene, then 3PO does. But during their, 2-minute scene, no one else is, they're not cutting to any reaction shots. It's only when Luke walks out of the base and 3PO does acknowledge him, I thought, okay, so obviously Luke was there. I wish I had seen some more reaction shots from people around going, wow, that's Luke Skywalker.
Everyone else does see him.
Yes.
Everyone else does see him, and Finn even tries to take action on his behalf. So I'm wondering if it was maybe just a stylistic choice.
After he leaves the base, then Finn is like, hey, he's out there going to fight an army by himself. Let's get out there. But I'm talking about while he's talking to Leia, I thought that no one else had seen him because no one else is reacting to him. We didn't cut to any reaction shots.
I thought it was similar to the Rey and Kylo Force connection.
Exactly.
And with the brown beard, the shorter hair, I thought that was the last time that Leia had met him. So that's what she would have recognized him as.
Exactly.
So that's how, I thought that's how the scene was
that's an
playing
interesting
out.
thought. And the other clues they gave us were his costume was very different. His clothing was different. A mix of the old from Return of the Jedi and the new from Episode 7 and 8. And it was the blue lightsaber that really did it for me.
Yeah,
when
that's what I
he pulls
noticed,
out
too.
his Empire Strikes Back era lightsaber, which we've seen destroyed
Yep.
earlier in the film. And then the other thing...
That's what I
That
noticed.
I didn't, that went
completely-
past me, too.
that went over my
Well,
head.
and he also had a little bit of Legolas going on. He didn't leave footprints in the
Right.
salt, which was really interesting.
Which I noticed the second time. On second viewing, I noticed that they made
need to
a
watch
lot
it
of
again.
attention to Kylo's feet when he, fixed
slide.
his stance, or he slid.
And
And then
the commander,
Luke...
when he walked out, they made a point of showing his footsteps. And as a side note, you see a rebel trench soldier looking at the footprints going, oh, that's weird. And the guy in back of him is who? What Rogue One director?
Gareth Edwards.
Plays a rebel trench soldier.
Yeah, I got that immediately.
He is not the one who tastes the salt, though. He is
No.
smart enough to
Yeah.
not dip his finger in the salt.
He's
and
the one
lick
that
it.
looks at the guy going, what are you tasting that for? That was on the ground.
Well, and there was a lot of little misdirectional things here in this film. Like, they make a very special point of showing Luke's X-Wing sunken around the island.
Yeah,
down
what's
there,
up with that?
So that later on we think, oh, he raised the X-Wing and flew here to help. And because he had the means to do it, it wasn't like he was trapped on the island. It was just a little bit of a tease to go, the X-Wing was there. All he had to do was raise it and fly out to the base to help.
The same thing.
Yeah, there were certain things that they had set up, which I thought were paying off in this scene right here, especially with the Force connection. I thought, okay, this is Leia and Luke connecting. He's on Octu, she's on Crate, which I thought would have been beautiful. And it looks like that's the way they did go. And then he goes out to fight the First Order by himself and Kylo Ren. And Kylo's like, you know what? There he is right there, the man I've been looking for. Fire every gun we have on him for 20 minutes and don't stop. Which they do, which Hux has never been better before. I loved him in this film.
Oh, yeah, he was
Although
great.
he was a bit of a punching bag this time around. I mean, it was a
Right.
little brutal.
But when they command all the AT-ATs in the AT-M6 to fire on Luke, there was a couple of AT-ATs in there. Yeah. And now, what did we think when we saw that? When all these big armored transports were just barreling every bit of armament on Luke Skywalker.
I thought that he had transcended the Force and nothing could hurt him, kind of like, out of the Matrix or something like that.
Yeah, I was
that's what I thought about.
I was thinking something like that, like he was the most powerful Jedi now, and he had the most ultimate Jedi powers we've seen yet.
Yeah.
Well, I knew there was no way they were going to take out Luke Skywalker with that.
Right. Not that
Yeah.
easy.
Exactly.
And he had a Matrix moment too in the sword fight, which was funny,
he did.
where he did his little limbo
Yeah,
back
it was a
bullet.
weird-
Yeah. Yeah, it was an homage to that. Yeah,
Now, did
right.
he actually clash? I'll have to rewatch it, but was there ever any contact between him and Kylo Ren in the fight?
No.
Or did he just, it was all evasive?
Yeah, their lightsabers never hit. They never made contact.
Yeah.
Until he went to slice through them.
Yeah, they never clashed lightsabers.
Their lightsabers never clashed.
Yeah.
No.
It was all Luke ducking and dodging.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when he did the one slice through his body, it just went through him.
And there was a huge audible gasp when that happened. And this is how Luke's going to go out. Kylo is going to cut him in half, but wait a minute. Luke is still standing. What's going on there? And that's like, okay, and all these clues are adding up.
And, in retrospect, it's kind of an interesting little, that worked on Han, but now it ain't going to work on me.
Right. But then Kylo goes over and shoves his lightsaber right through the Force projection. Yeah.
Call.
Exactly. Now, do you think that had a part in killing Luke, or was it the fact that he just exerted so much energy that's what sent him into being part of the Force?
I took it as the energy.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. He expelled so much energy that he kind of, I guess, transcended or resurrected, or
Kylo had specifically set up that takes so much energy to connect two people that way. And Snoke obviously had that ability, as he said later on, but because it was established that it took so much energy and Luke was on a seat of Force power on his island, I think it was that. I don't think he sucked up any of the energy from the combat hits, because as a projection, that shouldn't have been part of it.
Right.
Now, when that happened, Luke falls back on the rock, and I thought, okay, this is... He's not gone. He's still here. But then he just disappears, becomes one with the Force. All his midichlorians say, we're out of here.
With the twin sunsets.
Yeah.
What do we think of that? How... Because I know the theater was, moments before, joyous. Yeah, Luke is amazing. And then all of a sudden this happens and the theater was, quiet. So what did that do to you guys?
For me, I compare it to Han Solo. When he got killed, and Han Solo was like this punch in the gut.
Yeah, exactly.
And this, it was almost like two things. First, it was a stepping stone. We thought he was dead, then he was back, and then he really dies, or he's really gone. And so you've got this kind of, I've already given up too much emotion, so I don't have a punch in the gut. I've already been punched. But also, it wasn't because he was gone with the Force. It's he may not be completely gone yet.
Right. Well, I think when Han was killed, I remember that it was 20 minutes of dead silence, on opening night. It was just because everyone was just so heartbroken. And this, it just seemed like, it was the passing of a good friend. They're in a better place. You just know he wasn't killed. He's just in a better place now. So you felt better.
It was a very heroic death.
Yeah. It was an honorable, heroic death.
It was fitting and epic, but we also, there's a safety net that we have for Luke that Han doesn't have, which is he can come back in the next movie as a Force ghost and train Rey. That's still a possibility. And so we might not quite be done with Luke Skywalker, and that diffuses some of the sadness in it, because we know that he's knowledgeable about returning as a Force ghost, and even threatened to do so against Kylo, which was pretty funny.
Right.
I love the introductory scene of R2 meeting Luke again, and Luke just being so happy to meet an old friend, and R2, I'm not going back. R2 says, you want to bet? And what does he do?
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
That was that one really pulled my heartstrings.
Yeah. That was a cheap shot, is what he said.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. Have you guys talked about Leia yet?
We talked a little bit about her, so if you have anything to say, please.
One of the things that really kind of got me about this, and I'd had a theory before this trilogy even started, that in order for us to buy into the new characters, we were going to have to lose an old character of film. And I thought this film was the one that we were going to lose Carrie in, even before she passed away. But the thing that got me about this script and the story that they told, they had about 4 opportunities to write her out of the story in a really logical way with what they showed us, and they didn't take any of them. And, I mean, even some of the really big heroic moments in there that some of the other characters had that she could have stepped in and had, and it would have been a perfect way to give her the send-off that we think Princess Leia deserves, or General Leia deserves. And so I wonder what they're planning for the third movie. What kind of footage do they have in the can that they can keep her going for one more film and make it a satisfying end to her story without taking some of the outs that they had in this film that they could have done?
Yeah, because what they could have easily done is change things up and say, okay, we're going to lose Leia in Last Jedi because our hand was forced, and then save Luke's passing for the next film.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing that really got me. And, I mean, they put her in a coma at one point. She could have passed away there. She got sucked into space. She could have passed away there. And the thing that really I thought they could have done very well with her is she could have switched places with Emmeline Holdo and had that big hero moment that she got.
Oh, yeah.
And then Holdo would have been the very logical replacement. And we as fans, I mean, I would have, as invested in Star Wars as I am, I would have totally bought that Holdo was now taking over that role, and it was okay. And, you know, I wouldn't have held it against the filmmakers or anything, which may have been their fear. I don't know.
What I thought was interesting is that, you know, Princess Leia gets blown out into space, and then she saves herself, and I guess self-propels herself back into the ship. And I was thinking, wow, if she's that powerful, why does she show no more powers for the rest of the movie? I mean, in the end, to the end, you know, she's like, if she's that powerful, she could do so much more. Like, that was it. And through the rest of the movie, she just kind of she's just a regular human. So I just thought that she could have topped herself at the end, like, you know, tip over a nat or something like that.
Well, I think that she almost can tap into the Force subconsciously, but it's not a conscious thing with her because
she's untrained.
She's untrained, and so she has the Force ability, but it's more of on a subconscious level, unfortunately. Like, I'd love to see her, like, be all BA and do something awesome.
Well, sometimes Force abilities show up under duress.
Yes.
And, you know, we always hear about people here on Earth who are like, you know, oh, there was this terrible accident, but somebody had incredible adrenaline and they lifted up a car off of a baby, you know, and that kind of thing. And maybe that was just a case of that, where she pulled herself back into the ship in this very dire circumstance, and maybe even kind of subconsciously I want to be there, and flew herself over there without really knowing how she did it. Right. But I would love to. I think there was an alternate universe series of comic books where it was like a what if story, where what if Leia was the one who was trained as a Jedi and not Luke? Luke went to go be prince of some planet, and what if Leia was the one who was trained in the ways of the Force? It was kind of a neat story, and I don't remember, it was like Dark Horse or something like that, but it was really neat and fun to see, and Leia kicked butt and took names, and it was a very different kind of thing to read.
I agree. Well, who thought of, I mean, Poe Dameron, I really think he has a great character trajectory in this film, because, you know, he's like the flyboy at first, but then, you know, at the very end, Leia kind of acknowledges his leadership when he's like, come on, guys, let's follow, you know, and everyone's looking at Leia, and she's like, what are you looking at me for? Follow him. You know, I think throughout he kind of learned a good lesson about leadership, and I can see him really taking over. And to me, he was one of the characters that really drew me in this film. Even, I mean, I love Luke and Leia, but after the second viewing of it, I found myself really being like, whoa, Poe is like really awesome and likable and just a good character. Was there any other things that stood out to you, like characters or
Poe had the best sense of humor ever.
Yes.
When General Hux goes off on him, it was like, I'm holding for General Hux.
That was amazing.
I just laughed. That was awesome.
Well, I like that they also, you know, they were kind of all the new characters doing their character arc and exploring their flaws that they introduced in the first film and kind of seeing them evolve. So we see Poe kind of evolve from the flyboy to the leader. We also get to see Finn go from the coward, because he was running away in the first movie, and that's kind of his undertone, is he's a coward. And now we're seeing him try to evolve away from being a coward to being somebody who's willing to take a sacrifice for the team.
Now he's got family and friends, and that's what's really motivating him above and beyond serving the resistance. He's got a friend down there. He's going to put all of his attention and even put his life in danger, like he did in The Force Awakens, to save his friend.
Right.
All right. Now, what about Rey? We haven't spoken about Rey yet.
Who?
Rey.
Who? Rey. Oh, yeah, her.
Yeah, she was that girl.
Yeah. You can call me Ray, you can call me Jay, but you doesn't have to call me Mr. Johnson.
Well, you know, it's all kind of a Wizard of Oz thing if you think about it, because you have Poe, who needs to get his he needs the leadership, so he needs his heart. Right. And you have Rey, who needs her brain. She needs to figure out who she is. And you've got Finn, who needs his bravery.
All right, Mike, real quick question. Show of hands, who thinks that story about her parents being nobody is the right story?
The dark side, they never lie. It's always the good guys, the Jedi, who lie. So I think he is telling the truth when Kylo told Rey, I know who your parents are. They were just Jakku scavenger scum who sold you off for drinking money.
So you believe that?
Yes, I do.
I think I do too.
But who are they?
Well, I think the interesting thing is if you remember, J.J. Abrams was really angry with Disney when they put in the trailer, the Force is strong with my family. My father had it, I have it, my sister has it, and now you have it. Everyone was like, he cracked down on them and said, look, you're giving too much away in the trailer. So I think at that point, maybe it was originally that she was the daughter of Luke, but then once it was such a big giveaway, they had to go back and go, oh my gosh, this is dumb. We're going to have to come up with something else. And right now, what they came up with is their parents were nobodies,
I think that it's a false. They're dangling a false lead to get us off the trail, because they're leaving too much on the table. If they to me, that's a cop out. If her backstory is no backstory, then they're leaving a whole lot of interesting material and walking away from it.
I disagree. I want them to be...
Well, you're wrong. No,
I want them to be...
I disagree as well.
I want them to be just who they are. Because for 2 years, we've built up who are Rey's parents, who are Rey's... We got to know who they are and why they leave her there. And the fact that the answer is so simple that they sold her off to get a buzz that afternoon.
I think the final scene underlined it. Little kid comes out, broom in his hand, sweeping up, uses the Force. Who's that guy? Like, how is he connected to the Skywalker family? He's no one.
Yeah.
Rey. It's the same. I thought that was totally intentional. Underlined. There you go. He's a nobody. Rey's a nobody.
And it was more than just he was a nobody. He was very reminiscent of a young Anakin, who was a slave boy.
Slave, right.
So it was a lot of that parallel.
Good show.
Well, and there's a part of me that wonders about some of the things in this film, and maybe a little bit in Episode 7 too, that it sounds like filmmakers are fixing things that they don't like. So, like when we were introduced to midichlorians in the prequels, a lot of people got very upset.
That was the best part of the entire prequel.
Well, it was a very Star Trek thing to do, because Star Trek likes to explain things with technobabble, and it completely demystified the Force. And it sounds like what happens in this movie, or what it seemed like to me, is that they have now remystified the Force, but by ending the Jedi and making it a Force that everyone can harness if they are open to it, like we saw in that end piece, that makes it much more mysterious and much more accessible to everybody, and it completely negates the whole midichlorian thing entirely. And it seems like some of the things that they're doing in these films, like a lot of people didn't really like Snoke, and Snoke has a lot of theories, and we lose Snoke in this film. He gets taken out in glorious manner, but I feel like they did it just because a lot of people didn't like Snoke, up to and maybe including Rian Johnson.
I disagree with that. I think they were going to kill him in it because Kylo Ren is the big bad over all 3 movies. You can't have 2 of them in the next movie. They were going to kill him in this movie from day one, and that's how I saw it, because they want the final fight, Kylo Ren and Rey. There's no redemption like in Return of the Jedi. They were going to save Vader, so you still had to have a big evil person that dies at the end of that. There's no saving him. The big bad is Kylo Ren, and they're going to fight at the end of the next movie. And that's how I've always seen it, and that's how it seems it's going.
It did let him assume that mantle of being the big bad, and he got progressively less whiny as the film went on. So that was pretty good, and it was good to remove Snoke from the equation. But I haven't found anybody who likes him as a villain yet.
We haven't had a chance to get to know him. That's the problem is, Snoke's character really hasn't been developed all that well, which we were saying earlier, which is disappointing because I want to know who he is, where he got his power. And you can still have both because that's the original trilogy. You had Darth Vader and the Emperor. So you had both baddies coexisting and it heightened it. But, of course, they don't want to follow the exact same formula. So they do have to twist it a little bit.
I believe that's why they killed him off in this film, like I was saying earlier, just so there wouldn't be a direct connection to Return of the Jedi for Episode 9. Now, one of my favorite things about watching a Star Wars film is the Easter eggs. Who here saw any Easter eggs?
I thought I saw Yaddle, although I am not sure.
Matt loves his Yaddle.
I'll tell you my favorite.
Yaddle.
Oh, go ahead.
The Millennium Falcon gold dice that Luke picks off and then eventually gives to Leia.
When we saw Chewbacca's head hit those dice in A New Hope, they were silver. I know we're splitting hairs here.
No, that's a major one, though.
They could have had
a decision. Somebody made that decision to make it different.
Yeah, they could have had them gold plated at some point. But yeah, they were smaller and they were silver. You see them that one time when right before the blast off from Docking Bay 94.
I always thought that they were brass because they were actually like real dice that you could buy as a keychain, because we ran out and we found them, and they were actually, the funny thing was they were Playboy dice, and so like the 1 dots with little Playboy bunnies and things, and it was apparently what they had used in the movie, so we ran out to get them, and they were proper dice. So I always thought they were brass because those were the ones we found at the car shop.
No, I remember them being silver and smaller, I think.
Yeah, much smaller.
But that's one Easter egg. What are the others?
Now we also know that somewhere in there is Prince Harry and Prince William.
Do we know what scene it was?
They haven't said so far. We just don't know.
I feel like they're the ones who capture Rey when she takes the pod onto the ship. The ones with the binders who snap them open.
Oh, that
I feel
makes
like
sense.
Those are our guys, because there's 2 guys, and they feel like the royals to me. There were a couple of other scenes where we had 2 troopers walking through, but that was such a key moment that's where I would put them if I were the director.
I thought they were standing over Rose and Finn when they were on their knees. I was looking at the height difference. Like, William's a lot taller than
They could have been the
Harry.
executioners,
But
I
that
wonder.
was-
Yeah. Huh. Now, one of the Easter eggs that I saw that I thought was really kind of interesting, we have our little mid-gunfight phone call with Maz where they're talking to them about the slicer. And I noticed right away when they started showing her and she's like spinning around and shooting people and whatnot, and it kind of telegraphed the action at the end of this to me. She's wearing a backpack that's very much based on the Rocketeer's jetpack from the movie Rocketeer. And eventually she does jet out of the frame when they're talking to her. And I saw that one coming because the jetpack was so much of an Easter egg to the Rocketeer. And I thought that was kind of a fun little nod.
Yeah, I'm not sure they needed Maz Kanata in that role at all. But leading up to the next part with DJ, I'm not sure they really needed his scene at all. Just because they could have gotten a whole lot further quicker without having to go those routes. I love seeing Maz, but her character just didn't mesh with what we saw in The Force Awakens. Any other Easter eggs?
Not that I saw.
Yeah, it's not like Rogue One where every couple of minutes there was another Easter egg.
Was there a hidden Mickey in there somewhere?
There was no Wilhelm scream.
I never catch that on the first one anyways.
I'll tell you one thing they didn't do that made me a little bit sad. We did not have one instance of, I've got a really bad feeling about this. Nobody said it. That was disappointing.
Right, some repeating dialogue. Always fun. And there wasn't any masked actors coming back for an unmasked cameo like we've seen Anthony Daniels, Ahmed Best, or even up to George Lucas.
Mark Hamill had a masked role, apparently.
Yes,
because he was listed in the credits a second time for another character.
I saw that, and I was wondering if anyone knew who that was.
No.
I haven't spotted him yet.
And I looked at his name, it's like, okay, I got to remember that name because I want to bring it up when we do this roundtable, but I forgot.
I got to throw another thing out there. Phasma, what'd you think?
Rich and I were talking about this earlier, and I was saying, you know, for the build-up that they gave Gwendolyn Christie for that role, I mean, she's been so underused. Her character had very little to do, and we saw her eyeball. I don't know. She really didn't need to be cast for that.
I've never really got into the whole just because you're wearing special armor, you're something special, like Boba Fett. I know people are going to fry me for this. But I've always disliked the whole Boba Fett thing, that he became so popular because his armor looked so cool. That's not a reason why he... So anyway, same thing with her. Ooh, chrome armor. She must... Oh, and she's a woman. Oh, she got taken out by Chewie, and then she fessed up the code because she wasn't brave enough to stand up and then blew up the whole planet. Well, okay, we'll bring her back in this, and... Oh, she got her ass kicked by a stormtrooper who's got electric cattle prod. She's been like a waste, like a punching bag the whole time.
Yeah, the battle between she and Finn was fun and exciting, but didn't last that long. And when she knocked Finn over the edge, we thought, okay, he's gone. 2 seconds later, he comes up in I think a gag we've seen too many times before. Yeah.
All I could think of was that scene in Back to the Future when Marty comes
with
up
Marty
on
McFly. Yes, thank you very much. And then he slaps her with that weapon he's using, which cracks her helmet open. And then when he calls her Chrome Dome,
yeah,
it's like, meh.
I gotta tell you, Chris, not everybody gets to be awesome. And I guess it was just Phasma's turn.
Another Easter egg. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but you know when Finn's flying into the big battering ram cannon, and it's like already hitting him with like ion radiation, and I think it looks like he's being cooked alive, and then he's fine.
Well, he did have the windshield in front of him.
Oh yeah, nothing like a windshield.
And plus, Finn now has Bacta for blood because he just spent all of that time in his little hyperbaric recovery chamber. So you know he just heals all the time now, much like Wolverine.
Okay, I'll get to my Easter egg in a second, but speaking of that scene when Finn is racing into that ion battering cannon, he's saved by newcomer Rose Tico. What do we think about her character? Was she underused? Was she overused? Was it just right?
Well, she's dead.
Is she dead? Did they bring her back?
No.
You don't. She's not dead.
No.
Watch the whole movie.
Was dead. What movie? There was a movie?
Finn brought her back to the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, right. Okay.
Medpack here.
My big issue with, I loved her character. I thought it was fun. I thought it was neat to introduce somebody new. Didn't like the fact that they set her up as somebody who was kind of working behind the scenes, like a mechanic, and suddenly she's a fighter. And that I was a little bit like.
Well, she didn't do that much fighting.
At the end, she was in the.
She was in the hangar bay. She had a blaster. She got a couple of shots.
No, but
she took one shot to Phasma and it ricocheted off her
she
chest.
was flying the ship to save Finn at the end when he was sacrificing himself. So she was in the battle. She was one of the group that was in to fight off the new AT-AT walkers. Yeah, she was being
you mean
a pilot.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and so she went from being a mechanic to a pilot all of a sudden.
Well,
that was
by that point there was only about 20 of them, though.
I was going to say, on that note, they had 13 ships.
Who can fly? Right, take one.
Yeah, exactly. You got a driver's license, get in the ski speeder. Right.
Yeah,
the
so
other
that might have
pilots
been
blew up and died earlier in the movie.
Well, she knew enough to hang back.
Yeah, that's true. And she did seem to be a lot more skilled at that than Finn was. So.
Yeah, I liked her character. I thought she did a very good job. I didn't think she did too much that was out of her character range. She had some grit to her.
I do think she had one of the best lines of the film, which was, it's not fighting
You don't fight what you hate.
Yeah, you don't fight what you hate, you save what you love. Right. And that, I think, will carry on into the next film. I think that's a good lesson.
I will say that Finn is quite the ladies' man. I mean, it seems like everyone is falling in love with him.
He's charming.
Well, I think Rey has friend-zoned him big time, though. And, friend-zoned Finn. And I think Rose is kind of pulling him out of that. And that's good. I mean, he deserves somebody, too. Somebody was trying to tell me there was this big love triangle with him and Rey and Rose. And I'm like, I don't see it. I just see him and Rose. So.
No, it's going to be with Leia. The love triangle.
I thought it was funny when Rey says to Kylo Ren, "Could you please put on a shirt?"
Right.
Remember? Yeah, I thought it was funny.
A shirt or a towel or something.
Yeah.
I did like the fact we saw a whole new kind of planet. Just when you think they've covered everything, we got to see a Las Vegas planet.
Yeah. I liked the Vegas planet.
Yeah,
it was cool.
I liked the fake out with the James Bond guy who were like, "Oh, this is the guy we're supposed to like."
Right, and they never did find who they were looking for.
Right.
They saw him, they looked at him, they never connected with him because they got arrested. But they identified him with the identified pin.
Right.
And his assistant even took notice of them going, "Ooh, what's that? That seems important." And he's like, "Oh, no, forget that."
You mean George Hamilton? Because that guy looked just like George Hamilton. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So DJ wasn't even the slicer they were looking for, and it was never really explained who that guy was and who DJ was, who ended up turning Rose and Finn over to the First Order. There's so much to be explained with that whole slicer thing with the special flower pin.
That whole jail thing with I guess DJ, the slicer they did pick up. Isn't that just like a big nod to Pirates of the Caribbean? That's like finding Jack Sparrow in your cell.
Right. Now, one of the Easter eggs I was talking about earlier, this is more of a cameo than an Easter egg, Admiral Akbar.
Oh, yeah.
I was so sad to see him go.
We lost Admiral Akbar in this. Let's give a moment of silence to Admiral Akbar.
They're very clearly, consciously trying to kill off the old characters and introduce new ones. I mean, because they didn't need to kill them. There was no setup. There was no payoff. It was, hey, let's get rid of another old character while we're at it. So that seems to be a decision that they're making behind the scenes, that we want to move on to new people.
I don't think it was so much that as, as long as we've got the opportunity, let's throw another name that people will recognize, and we'll just have him as one of the people.
Well, I think that it was heightening the intensity of the moment and made it a little more emotional. But at the same time, they didn't need to do that. There was no reason to do that other than we can. So it indicates to me that they're really wanting to write out old characters and write in new characters.
Well, and we lost a couple of new characters too. Like, what happened to Snap Wexley? Remember Snap Wexley from last time? And admittedly, this was not a J.J. Abrams directed film. He'll probably come back in the next one where he was off on the shopping planet or something and having a good time. But
and he's been in all the comics.
Do you know that Greg was here tonight?
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, terrific. No,
Greg
I didn't
Grunberg,
see him.
Greg. Yes, Snap was in the audience.
Oh, see, that's cool. I was hoping he would be in the film, and I was disappointed that he wasn't there. Regarding your comment, Chris, about Wedge Antilles, I heard a story, and I don't know if this is apocryphal or if it's a true thing, but I had heard that Wedge was approached to play the role of Poe. Poe was supposed to be Wedge, and Dennis Lawson didn't want to do it, and so they rewrote the part with Poe and gave this new awesome pilot. But I had heard that the awesome pilot was supposed to be Wedge, who'd survived all this time. And it would have been incredible, right? But again, I don't know if this is a real story or a fake story.
Yeah, that sounds like fake news to me.
Oh, yeah, I definitely heard he said, I don't need to do that.
Didn't we have, sorry, this is slightly off topic. There was another Porkins that blows up.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, they had another...
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, they had another Porkins, Porkins 2.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Porkins, let's wrap things up now. Let's wrap it up with some pork talk.
They look delicious.
I was going to say they look tasty.
Did we need them? Did we not need them? Was it just enough?
I don't think we needed the ice foxes. I'm like,
crystal foxes?
Yeah, how many
Crystal critters?
cute animals do we need in one
How
movie?
else would they have gotten out of nowhere to
Yeah,
go?
I don't know. Write something better. I mean, crystal foxes. I don't know.
I actually like
There's
them
a
better than the
draft.
porgs.
There's a
Oh,
draft.
you're getting off topic. Okay,
Oh, sorry.
We're talking porgs.
Porgs.
I am pro porg. If anyone ever gets the chance to go to Skale, Michael, like sell your house to do it, sort of thing, is an experience.
Where they shot Act 2.
Exactly.
It's on my bucket list.
It's-
and in this costume. I'm
it's-
totally going to do it.
Just as a side note there, you can no longer stand where Luke stood on Skellig Michael. That's all fenced off.
Was it really?
Yeah. Some friends of mine just went there and they showed me a picture. It's like, well, you can't go over there anymore.
Like, so you can see where and why they got the inspiration. Like
Yeah.
The puffins, the sea life,
Right.
the seabirds are everywhere. Like, it covers the island. There had to be some sort of wildlife living there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So why not make them cute, cuddly, and
Yeah.
make $1 million? So,
I love me some porgs. I
Yeah.
loved them. I thought they were used just enough. They didn't go over cutesy. Not sure why Chewbacca had them all of them of the Millennium Falcon cockpit.
the porg on board.
Porg on board.
That was funny. That was pretty
Yeah. So to go back to Chewie then. So he had one roasted. He was just about to take a munch. Did he kill it, or was it already dead?
I feel like he killed it.
Yeah.
No. He would never do something so heartless. It was already dead. It was roadkill. He found it laying there.
It had killed itself by flying onto the stick.
But then, like, all the other families were just like, all this looking up, giving me the little.
It died on a farm in Connecticut.
Oh, don't tell me Chewie
Porgs are
did
really
that,
like
man.
lemmings. They just leap off of cliffs all the time. He just collects them at the bottom.
I was pro porg. I thought it added the cuteness factor, and you go back to the Return of the Jedi with the Ewoks, the Star Wars, you would like them or not, Star Wars has to appeal to the next generation, so you kind of have to have something in there that the kids can get and buy and cuddle with and have fun with. And they didn't necessarily further the story, but they added to
Kids
the
are 41-year-olds.
Exactly.
Well, even my wife succumbed to the porgs. We had to buy one on Force Friday when the toys all came out. Although we're a little snarky, so we've named ours Ernest Porgnine.
All right, we got to wrap it up with that because there's no way we can be any more porg talk. That's awesome. Now, before everyone takes off, tell everyone, all the Skywalkers out there, how they can get a hold of you or if you have something to promote. Sean?
You can find me on KryptonRadio.com Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time for Good Morning Tatooine, which is a movie music show, and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time for Docking Bay 94, which is our panel stuff on geek topics. And it's a live radio station. You got to listen to us live. It's kind of weird in this day and age, but please do. We'd love to have you.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Obi-Shawn Crosby. Chris Alexander.
I don't have anything new. I'm still trying to plug away and talking my publishers into. I'm writing it. I'm just trying to talk them
Pitch
into
your book over
publishing
there.
it. But my book is still really doing well. Star
Which
Wars
is?
Origami. Find it on Amazon. It's after 5 years, it's still the #1 selling origami book in the world. I'm very proud of it.
Great job. And let's have it noted that Chris sold a couple of Star Wars Origami books on Tuesday when we did the Force
auctioned
Fun
them
Challenge
off.
games, and you
Auctioned
raised
them
some
off.
more money for the Starlight Children's Foundation.
I was proud
Thank
to
you.
do it.
Thank you, Chris. Paul McHugh.
I'll give a little shout out to Fantha Tracks. I'm over here contributing to that, putting up some. It's mainly been photographs so far, but I'll be doing a little write up about liningup.net and the experiences that we've had over the last 7 days or so.
And where can they find Fantha Tracks?
Fanthatracks.com on Instagram, the Twitters, Facebooks, all over.
Matt Baird. Where can the Skywalkers find you?
I've got 2 videos. One is Talk Like a Pirate Day for free stuff.
Nice.
And Talk Like a Pirate Day for free stuff canceled on YouTube. Oh, it's a backstory. There's lots of backstory. But having said that, I just want to say that I believe my team won at your big contest, your sort of contest, remember? On Tuesday?
On Tuesday, yeah, the first fun challenges.
Yeah. We won. I don't know what that other team was thinking of. We came in first. It was rigged. All right. Anyway.
Well, you won fair and square. What are you talking about?
You're right. All right. It was
you were acknowledged.
I was acknowledged. You're right.
All
was
right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
David Skale.
Well, you can find me right here on Skywalking Through Neverland from time to time with some special segments.
And the Magic Castle, right?
Yeah, I perform at the Magic Castle from time to time. And
what segments have you done?
The Rebel Spy segments and the Ghost Host. You can find me on Facebook at David Skale. That's Scale with a K. And eventually, maybe on Twitter, if I start using my account, that'll be maybe a New Year's resolution.
As a ironic twist, I'm going to teach Dave how to use Twitter.
Ooh, that should be very interesting.
I want to catch up to circa 2012.
All right. Chris Marino.
You can find me behind the scenes on John Boyega's further adventures with Pacific Rim 2 Uprising in March.
All right. With that, everyone, you know how we always wrap things up?
Neverland on Alderaan.
Or on Hux's Dreadnought. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you. Good night. We'll see you in 5 months for Solo, a Star Wars story.
Planning on it.
Shout-outs, Skywalker shout-outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout-out. Who was photobombed? Shout-out. Who was shared a post? Shout-out.
It's Christmas time. Do you know what that means?
That means that we get Skywalker Christmas cards.
Yeah, and you know what? This all started in our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook group when Missy Kaya posted and asked, hey, can we start like an event where we send Christmas cards to Skywalkers?
What a fantastic idea. So big thanks to Missy Kaya for that.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So we kind of started an event within the Skywalker group, and we are exchanging addresses in a very safe way. And it's fun because, Richard, we have how many Christmas cards sitting here?
You know what? There's a pile of them.
It's a pile.
So here, you take half and I'll take half.
Okay. So the first one, we got 7 Star Wars ones and some Disney ones, so it's really cute. We've got some awesome Christmas cards. So here is one from Chickafint, and they sent even a little spoon that you can get in the Cheerios boxes, and it had R2 on it, and they said, since you cannot share a spoon, here is an extra. Happy holidays from Chickafint! Michelle, Michael, Magnus, and Mal. Aw, and it's a Star Wars Image Arts card. And we have C-3PO and R2-D2 all dressed up for Christmas.
All dressed up in a big Christmas bow.
Yes.
And nice. This next one comes from our Skywalker family all the way in Florida, the Hunt family.
Aw.
A merry wish for a jolly day and a happy year ahead. Hooray! Merry Christmas, the Hunt family. Jeremy, Heather, Sophia, and Cheney. And included in this card are very nice drawings of a Porg and a Volp text.
I know.
These are so well done.
They're so adorable. These are being put on our wall.
Thank you very much. Look at that. Look at the detail in that.
I know.
Some time was spent with that, and you know what? If they don't mind, I'd like to take a picture of this. And
I'm
post
sure.
it. Because look at that. Look how cute that is.
It's adorable. All right, now we have a lovely Christmas card featuring a fireplace, and over it we have stockings. We have Vader stockings, Luke, Obi-Wan, Han, Yoda, C-3PO, Leia with her bun stocking, and a big giant Chewie stocking.
Wait a minute, what's that with? Oh, on the top of Obi-Wan's stocking, that's his hood.
That's his hood, yeah. Isn't that
know
weird?
What that was.
I know, it's so funny. So here, this card is from Sandra Shoot. Richard and Sarah, hope everything's merry in your little corner of the galaxy. Happy holidays. What a great sentiment.
Where are they finding these?
I don't know, but it says Hallmark. Oh no, this one is Funny Zone Star Wars.
So one of my favorite things is going to the Hallmark store and seeing the variety of holiday-inspired Star Wars cards.
Yes.
Because like I always say, when I was a kid, they didn't have any of this. I remember back in 1979, they came out with a bunch of birthday cards, but never Christmas or Halloween or Easter like they have now. So I'm just so excited going to the store and seeing so many different varieties. Now this one here from Billy, Chris, and Jillian Medea.
Aww.
It has Yoda and Darth Vader on the cover. And Yoda says, "Get you back on the nice list this will." And has Darth Vader using the Force and packing up Santa's sleigh.
Aw, that's adorable.
What I noticed is that a lot of these cards are taking some Ralph McQuarrie inspired drawings. Like
Okay.
this one here's got Yoda with a Santa hat, which is very cute. And it says, "Merry Christmas, Skywalkers."
Adorable. Now I want to bring up this lovely card. It says, "Merry Christmas from the Ennis family." And I love it. We've got Cecilia and Greg, Piper, and Sophia with a lovely card with their pictures on it. And they're so cute. Season's greetings. Aw. It's a first Skywalker Christmas on this one. Oh, very sweet.
All right, this next one comes from the Mandervillians.
Ooh.
And it's signed David, Luann, and Emmy. And Emmy is the dog.
Like Magnus and Mal, I think.
Yeah, the little paw print.
Yes.
And this is a Christmas card with a Force Awakens inspired 3PO and R2 and BB-8. And it says, "We are fluent in 6 million forms of holiday greetings."
Oh,
I want to hear those.
me too.
I want to hear all of those, 3PO. And then it says, "Our programming suggests Merry Christmas is appropriate for this occasion." Very, very nice.
We love it. And now, oh look, we have a Disney card here. We've got Goofy, and he's decorating a tree he found in the woods, and he's got little bunnies.
Oh, there is bunnies.
A little hoojib right beside him. And this one is Woodland Winter Wishes from Russ Flores, Grace, and Morgan. Aww. Thank you, Russ, for keeping us in the Disney spirit, too.
All right. And then we have one from our good friend Marcus Doring, which is a 501st 20th anniversary card.
Well, I know, it's super cool.
You know, on the cover here, we have a snow trooper, we have a flame trooper, and another snow trooper.
Okay.
And they're all wearing Santa hats. Standing in front of a Christmas tree.
That's a really cool design. I like
look
that.
at That's nice symmetry there.
And within the card, what do we have?
It says here, "Join us in celebrating the holiday season and 20 years of the 501st Legion. Happy holidays, Marcus."
Oh, and I wonder if that was supposed to rhyme. Season and Legion.
"Join us in celebrating the holiday season and 20 years of the 501st Legion."
Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
It is. And he gave us some of his Stormtrooper cards, which are amazing. First Order Stormtrooper, an Imperial Stormtrooper, and some 501st coins. I wonder if we can get drinks with these.
Are these challenge coins?
I don't know. So what can we do with these coins? Let us know, please. I'm excited. So we want to thank all of you Skywalkers, and since there's still a week till Christmas, I don't know, we may be getting a few more of these in. So super exciting, and once again, our Facebook group is it's just like our family. So I really encourage you, if you haven't, to request to join the Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook group and answer the 2 questions that pop up, and when you do, you can become a member of our Skywalker family.
And maybe if you're lucky, you too will get a holiday card from the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
These are so cool. So thank you, everyone, and I hope everyone's having a great holiday season so far. And now with that, let's speak with Dan McDonald from the Dark Side Bar in Hollywood. Dark Side fans, you are going to love this next interview. We're going to talk with Dan McDonald of the Dark Side Bar here in Hollywood. Dan, tell us all about the Dark Side Bar.
Well, this is a Sith bar, and we actually have a poster up that says "No Rebel Scum Allowed." So we went all dark with this bar. Dark, black, and red is the theme. So
Kind of like The Last Jedi.
Yes, it's solely based on this movie. We're here for this movie, to support this movie.
All right, now, so we just got the tour of the Dark Side Bar, and it's very, very impressive. For those listeners, the Skywalkers out there who have not been here yet, can you tell us what they can expect when they get here?
They can expect walking into like a hyperdrive scenario. You walk in, you're immediately thrust into the Dark Side Bar. Nothing but red neon everywhere and black, and you got Kylo Ren and Darth Vader's lightsaber behind the bar. So we went for the Sith theme. Like, we're all Sith here. No light side, no gray side. It's just the dark side here.
This is kind of where Darth Vader would go to relax and toss a couple drinks.
He's actually here. He's doing his Imperial March, yeah.
So now, would you consider this a bar that would be in universe, very immersive?
I could see this bar being in the Executor, like in one of the levels on the Executor. I could see this bar being in there.
Okay.
You know, just like a Stormtrooper hangout. I could see that happening. Yes.
Like where the Imperial Guards go to hang out after
Take off your helmet and relax.
after shift.
Yeah, you go, you blow away some rebels, you come, you need to relax a little.
Yeah, when you walk in, we've seen some Praetorian guards.
Yes.
We've seen some classic stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So everyone gets along here at the Dark Side Bar, as long as they don't bring in the rebel scum.
Right.
It's like the cheers of the Empire.
It is, yes. We did drag out a few rebels a couple nights ago.
Oh.
So we had to do that, and everything worked out.
Wait, so you actually dragged them out of the bar?
We did. It was me and Darth Maul actually dragged them out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a couple X-Wing fighter pilots here.
So
I don't
it's
know
like-
how they got in.
Oh, so it's kind of like the opposite of like when you have your rebel base and like the stormtroopers come and like infiltrate it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice.
Now, your other locations, are they all dark side?
Yes, they are. It's New York and D.C. Yeah.
Oh.
In Washington, D.C., you have to have the dark side.
Yeah, that just writes itself.
I was gonna say, yeah.
All right, so what was your part in all of this? Because this is very impressive, and like we were saying earlier, you did a lot of the art direction here.
Right.
So paint us a picture when we first walk in. What are we looking at? What are we seeing? I know you said red neon,
Right.
but
there's so much more.
Describe to everyone really what's going on.
You get the theme right away. You walk in and it's the theme. John Williams is one of the best characters in Star Wars, I think. So right when you walk in, you're hit with him. So from there on, it's like, it's an experience. You start with John Williams and you're good to go. You walk right in there through the veil and you see the big Empire logo and you see the bar. It's just rocking the whole time. You see the lightsabers behind the bar. You see everything is themed. All the bartenders are dressed up. You know, it's their own version of what a Sith would be. Some of them are funny. Some of them are actually, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, I didn't know you were into Star Wars.
And I do love the fact that the bartenders are into it, like as far as their makeup as well.
Yeah.
They are totally dark side with like eye makeup
Yeah, well,
and
if they
things.
don't dress up, I'll execute them. So it's that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's actual makeup. I think they're actually Sith.
Oh, okay. They've gone so far to the dark side that it's affecting their skin tone.
Either that or their drinks are just really strong.
Now, you were saying that on some certain nights you have entertainment.
Yes.
So tell us what you have going on here.
Oh, we have trivia, like on Wednesdays and Thursdays, formerly slow nights. I think from here on out they'll be busy. We had trivia. We have guns that shoot darts. We have like a stormtrooper shoot off to see who's the worst shot, and that's been working. I actually bought a drone and I've flown it in the lobby, a TIE Fighter drone.
Wow.
If there's a line, so everything's like we're going to entertain on all levels here, all dark side too. You'll see everything's themed towards the dark side.
Now I've heard there's like hula hoops involved.
Yes,
What can you tell us about that?
Intergalactic hula hoopers. They're Sith lords with hula hoops, basically. They know how to manipulate like the space in the air, and they can flip them. And oh my god!
Wait a minute, you said you didn't see Last Jedi. That's exactly what happens in Snoke's throne room.
Oh my god! See, it's all coming together.
All right, so tell us where we are right now in Hollywood. Where can, if people were to come here, where do they go?
It's the Chinese. It's literally inside the Chinese Theater. It's the VIP level. You'll see a Sith at the door. You'll see our signs. That's exactly where you find us. You can hear the music playing as well. We'll have Star Wars themes. We mix it up. We have a DJ who mixes in Star Wars, John Williams, with his own beats. So it's all creative.
Awesome. And you know what? This is a pop-up bar.
Yes.
So when did you start and when will it end?
We got extended.
Nice.
Yeah, New York and D.C. I don't know if they're pulling the weight, but we got extended to February 1st. From January 14th was going to be our last day. So, yeah,
Okay.
February 1st is ours.
So great. So as Skywalkers, if you are in the area before February 1st, definitely check out the Dark Side Bar.
Do they need reservations or?
You can make them online or you can just walk up. Yeah, so
And what is the cover rate?
The cover rate is $40 walk up. It's $33 online, and that gives you 2 drink tickets. So basically, it takes care of your ticket. So,
Right.
yep,
Okay, so even though there's a cover charge, it's really paying for your drinks,
exactly.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And what's the website where they go to actually be able to make reservations?
You can go to darkside.com. So,
All right, now so far you've fed us 2 of your most popular drinks here.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
describe them for us.
Yeah, because I can't drive home right now. These are some strong drinks. Tell us your signature drinks here at the Dark Side Bar.
signature drink is the Red Force. That's the number 1. It's the Red Force. It's cherry vodka, peach, and grenadine mixed with pineapple. It's a sweet drink. It's like Kool-Aid with alcohol, and it's smoking with the dry ice, and we have like red LED ice cube in it, so it's actually glowing in your hand. You got the yellow version.
And it's good. I can testify to that myself. I'm having one now.
He's had 4. He's had 4.
And now, what am I drinking here? Because this is really
This is
good.
Darth Vader's drink. It's called the Dark Side. This is what he would drink. This is Jack Daniels. It's blackberry liqueur, and it's fresh lime, and it's topped with a little bit of Coca-Cola.
So after I drink one of these, now the holiday special makes even more sense.
Yes.
Okay, now I understand it.
Once you drink 3 of these, you can start talking in Wookiees and understand everyone.
You can.
And after 4, you get yourself tattooed like Darth Maul.
Oh, nice. All right, now, before we wrap things up, you were saying earlier that over the last couple of weeks, you've made improvements. So what kind of things have you been improving on, and how well have they been going? Because right now, this is like a 100 out of 100.
Right.
So what got you to this point?
That's a really good question. What got us to this point were 2 security guards, 2 Imperial guards at the door, instead of 1 to check you in faster. You buy a ticket at 6, you're here for 2 hours, then the next crew comes in. And we wanted to make that experience like fresh for everybody. We don't want to just say, here's your ticket, go in, and it's already full. You know, we need to evacuate and let in, and everybody, it's gone super smooth since we've done that. Also, a number 1 complaint was sticky floors. We got a wax we put over the floor. They don't stick anymore. So, and even if they did stick, it's like it's a Sith bar. It's going to be sticky in there, you know? You know, it's a Sith bar. So, you know, it's not pristine.
Right?
Yeah.
So these last couple of nights, we've had some showings of The Last Jedi at the TCL Chinese Theater IMAX Deluxe.
That's it.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
And we've seen some celebrities walk in and out.
Yes.
Have many made their way inside of here?
Yeah, we've had the other day, the guy who played Spartacus came in. The Australian guy.
Russell Crowe?
No, it was the TV show Spartacus.
Good call, though.
Yeah. Russell, and I heard The Rock was in here looking around when we weren't open, because Jumanji was down over here.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
right.
So he was looking around. Who else did we have in here?
I saw while we were waiting in the lobby, the actor who played Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager was walking down the stairs. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, and the guy from Dexter, C.L. Lewis, he was a blood analyst with Dexter. He came in here. We took pictures. Oh, my God. He loved it. Everybody's loved it so far who I spoke with. Yeah.
Nice.
So the improvements have been in there. The first week was trial, and it was just like cattle. Get in there, do your thing. A lot of people couldn't get drinks, but now we improved it. So cocktail servers, an extra bar in the back, and now everything is flowing. So
Right.
it's perfect.
All right, so now let's wrap it up by telling everyone why they should come to the Dark Side Bar.
Oh my God! Why should you come to the Dark Side? If you're if you are a fan, you need to be here. There's no bar like this place. There won't be a bar like this place in a long time. So I think this is a once in a lifetime experience. It could be a once in a lifetime experience. I wouldn't want to take the chance missing it. So it's all Sith too. If you have any interest in the dark side, maybe you belong here. So
Nice.
yeah.
All right, so once again, this is at the TCL Chinese Theater IMAX, right inside the theater itself.
Right, it's the upstairs
There's
level.
a VIP area, and we're going until February 14th. February 1st.
Yes.
Okay. I've been drinking.
No Valentine's Day at the Dark Side Bar.
Oh.
We got the colors for it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cover charge is $40.
Yes, at the door, $40, 2 drink tickets, basically pays for your ticket.
All right, and do you encourage people to come in costume?
Oh, if you want to, you might get an extra drink if you do.
Oh, you know what?
go.
Drink drop on that one there.
Cosplayers, check it out.
I'm wearing a Poe Finn bromance jacket. What do I get?
You get 3 extra tickets.
All right, interview over. Let's go drink. All right, thank you very much,
Welcome.
Dan.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
All right, with that, let's wrap up this big episode 195 of
Skywalking Through Neverland.
And not just any episode, but the Last Jedi reaction show.
Oh, I know. And we want to thank Paul McQue, Star Wars Origami author Chris Alexander,
Ghost host and Rebel Spy reporter Dave Scale,
Skywalking Through Neverland Roundtable veteran Matt Baird, and host of Good Morning Tatooine, Obi-Shawn Crosby, and Dan McDonald of the Dark Side Bar in Hollywood.
Yeah, and thanks once again to Dan for sponsoring our roundtable and getting us all very inebriated. Thank you very much. And once again, if you haven't, you must go to the Dark Side Bar right there at the TCL Chinese Theater IMAX.
Through February 1st. All right.
Did I get it right?
You did.
Okay, good.
That's why I went on and didn't look at you with a funny face.
And of course, we want to thank all you Skywalkers who listen every single week, post and you review and you do all the fun stuff that just helps the family grow and grow and grow.
And I want to remind everyone that we have our Porg BB-8 Mickey buttons, as well as shirts, stickers, totes, mugs, and pillows available of our other designs like Christmas in the Stars BB-8. So those designs have been they've been being bought all week. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, a lot of Skywalkers got our buttons last week during the liningup.net meetups, our Force Fun Challenge games last Tuesday. We handed out so many buttons.
It was amazing.
It was fun to see Daniel Logan wearing his button.
Yeah. Yeah, our whole team did. And you know what? I did that Nissan scavenger hunt thing, but in the next episode of Skywalking Through Neverland, that is where I'll go into detail about that. Now, Skywalkers, I want to give a reminder of our YouTube channel. Richard, you were at the TCL Chinese Theater, and on the 14th, they did a tribute to Carrie Fisher, correct?
Yes, they did.
Yes, so that will be up on our YouTube channel, which is really fun. We have other stuff there besides just our show, so you can really, see what's going on in the theme park universe and just events we attend. It's really fun. So please go to youtube.com/Skywalking Through Neverland to subscribe.
So much exclusive content.
Yes.
Now, we are part of the Retro Zap family, where you can find articles and other awesome podcasts like Brews and Blasters, which we'll be appearing on very soon.
Yes.
With our Last Jedi reactions.
And Warp Trails.
Beltway Banthas.
The Deuce Cast Movie Show.
Starship Sabers and Scoundrels.
Kanata's Castle.
Techno Retro Dads.
And
Talking Apes TV. I'm so glad everyone liked our last episode with author E.C. Gaska, who could be appearing on an upcoming Skywalking Through Neverland or classic Marvel Star Wars comics.
Oh, exciting.
Man's got a lot of great stories.
That's news to me.
There's a lot of stuff I haven't told you just yet.
Well, you can also find Skywalking Through Neverland at jedinews.co.uk and Fantha Tracks.
And if you want to reach out to us, please, we encourage you to either tweet, or is it Twitter? To tweet. At Skywalking Pod. You can go to share at skywalkingthrough-neverland.com if you want to email us something. Or you can go to Facebook. Either go to our page, Skywalking Through Neverland, or our group.
It's a lovely, lovely group, as we just mentioned in the shoutouts.
And now, always remember to go see Last Jedi again. Because if you've only seen it 10 times, you haven't seen it enough.
That's right. And
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
to our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said.